The initial phase of a full-scale invasion of Ukraine by Russia's military is underway. Thanks for joining us. I'm Cheryl Miller, along with Julie Bragg and Candace Burns. President Biden has announced tough new sanctions against Russia in response to that attack. CBS 6's Bill Fitzgerald has been monitoring the situation overseas and joins us now with the very latest. Bill?
Cheryl, the invasion began last night, that is early morning Ukraine time, and since then, Russian military forces have advanced even further into Ukraine. Take a look. This is some new video we're seeing out of Ukraine. It follows the bombing of an apartment building. From the outside, you see parts of the structure have been destroyed, balconies in pieces. This video from inside one of the homes also shows more damage. You see civilians caught in the crossfire, glass shattered all over the floor, what looks like wires hanging down from outside windows. In another part of Ukraine, people took shelter from bombing in the train stations. They're not waiting for trains, they're sheltering there. The Pentagon says Russia fired roughly 100 missiles in this initial phase of the attack, targeting Ukraine's military infrastructure and the highly populated residential areas. That's a problem for all those folks. Since then, Russia has taken control of the Chernobyl nuclear plant. That is according to Ukrainian officials. After meetings with its national security team and other G7 world leaders, President Biden unveiled what he describes as unprecedented sanctions against Russia.
We've now sanctioned Russian banks that together hold around $1 trillion in assets. We've cut off Russia's largest bank, a bank that holds more than 1/3 of Russia's banking assets by itself, cut it off from the U.S. financial system. And today, we're also blocking 4 more major banks. That means every asset they have in America will be frozen.
Meanwhile, NATO says it will activate defense plans to protect its eastern flank. A group of American F-35s has been deployed from Germany to the Baltic region in support. President Biden says he will not send American forces into Ukraine, though the U.S. has sent lethal aid. Ukrainian officials say they will fight to defend their homeland, and they do not expect anyone else to fight alongside them, but they do want support. U.S. forces in Poland have set up camps to receive refugees from Ukraine. Candace?
Thanks, Bill. And we're hearing from some people who live in Central Virginia who are from Ukraine and they still have family in their home country. Our Brendan King spoke with the man living in Chesterfield. Brendan tells us what he is saying about the events that he's seeing unfold overseas.
Right now, several Ukrainians living in Metro Richmond tell us that they are scared for their home country, watching the news coverage throughout the day, rightfully so. And I did speak with one man who has lived in America for about the past 6 years. So I spoke to Igor Kudrovsky. He was born in Ukraine. He now lives in Chesterfield. Right now, he's nearly 5,000 miles away from home in Ukraine and can only watch the explosions and military actions from his TV. And he tells me he originally wished Russian President Vladimir Putin's plans to invade were a mere hoax. Yet we have seen over the last hours that this is a legitimate invasion, according to the experts. Igor tells me families back home are panicking, trying to evacuate from cities into the rural areas. Roads, he says, are overcrowded right now and it's hard to move. Listen to him describe how his relatives back home are dealing with this unprecedented crisis.
Parents of my wife still in Ukraine, a sister and me, and we call them. We don't sleep. We call, talk to them. They try to escape, but they come back because roads overcrowded, and you don't know what to go. If imagine all country attack.
He says the entire country is being attacked right now. I also spoke to a woman who has family back in Ukraine. She tells me she too could not sleep last night. She says her family is in constant contact over the phone with her relatives back in Ukraine, checking on them, making sure they are okay. But sadly, they believe that this threat in Ukraine is not going to be over anytime soon. Working for you in Richmond, I'm Brendan King, CBS 6 News.
Well, crude oil has surged above $100 a barrel for the first time since 2014 because of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Analysts are concerned that a war could disrupt global energy supplies. Oil prices have surged more than $20 a barrel since the start of the new year on fears of sanctions on Russia's energy sector. Russia is the world's second largest producer of oil. Surging oil prices have led to higher prices at our gas pumps. Morgan Dean with AAA says what's happening in Ukraine isn't the only thing driving up gas prices in this country. He says economies are ready to reopen as the pandemic winds down, and a switch to summer fuel for the busy travel season is also to blame.
everything that we're looking at is going the other direction, which would be continuing to push prices up. And let's not forget, we're already at $3.41 here before we're even starting into the busy travel season.
Well, you heard Dean say state average there, $3.41 a gallon. Here in Richmond, we're paying $3.39, up nearly 30 cents a gallon from just last month. The national average is even higher at $3.57 a gallon.